Recording. Awesome. Well, what's going on, Kizzy?
Nothing. What's up?
Much, man. We're getting straight to it. I appreciate you taking the time to just speak a little bit about your experience. And I know we got a lot of catching up to do, so I'll try to keep it brief because I know you're busy, but we definitely appreciate you taking the time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So let's dive right in. So for those people who are tuning in, who see this video, we've obviously known each other for quite some time. We've seen your evolution over the years. Yes, I can officially say it's been years, and not just a couple weeks. But we've seen you go from where you were, right, working. I believe it was an on-site manufacturing job or something
Yeah, it
along the.
was doing content for an oil and gas company for $500 a week.
Wow. And then I know you went through the program a while back and
Mhm.
you actually experienced, like, you caught traction right away. You caught some fire right away. And then I think it was in, like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, it was so super, super quick.
Amazing.
The you presented me the opportunity for the help desk service desk contract with Nordstrom. So up until that point, I hadn't had like any cyber experience or anything like customer service jobs, dead end jobs, yeah, but that was like that solidified like my career, me growing into my career.
Amazing. Amazing. And I know, so you talk about that. Let's expand a little bit. So you were doing the manufacturing on-site content creation. You went through the program, which was significantly different than it is today. And we'll talk about that in a little bit on what the program is today, what it's grown into. But you went from doing that on-site job to then working as a service desk or tech analyst at Nordstrom. And then what happened, from there? So what I know you've grown and evolved 3 times.
Yeah, so while I was working as a system analyst, I was just building my network on LinkedIn. That was like a hard transition too, but I was just building my network on LinkedIn. And then Cyber HCS had the Cybersecurity Accelerator with Chris. And once that ended, I was offered a contract to conduct NIST cybersecurity framework audits for school districts. And that opened me up to the GRC side of cyber. And that made me realize it's not just like SOC or like pen testing with cybersecurity. But I was happy to get that experience with auditing. And then I got another contract with HubSpot. And this was in the time I was doing systems analyst and the HubSpot vendor security and privacy analyst simultaneously. And that those incomes combined got me my first 6 figures a year working. But I was a vendor security systems analyst at HubSpot. And then once that contract ended at the end of last year, I just got on with Nordstrom's cybersecurity team, their SOC team, which while I was a systems analyst, I had the opportunity to build connections with a lot of people and I had the opportunity to interview with them, but I didn't have my security plus at the time, so they had to move forward with someone else. But the opportunity came back full circle. It was crazy. And two, it was crazy too because I just finished the VSOC Incubator and I was able to speak to CrowdStrike more and QRadar and like the interfaces more, which that really, really helped me in my interview as well. So they were really impressed with me being able to speak to that CrowdStrike experience.
Excellent. That sounds phenomenal. That's so you mentioned GRC, right? You mentioned GRC with the school district and then HubSpot. All right. A lot of people they have no idea what cybersecurity is in the first place, but there's so many different domains. You have, pen testing, blue team, incident response, tech sales, project management, GRC, privacy, risk management. What is GRC for those people who are listening in? Because that's a domain that's not talked about a lot, but it's very important.
Yes. VRC is governance, risk, and compliance, and it's just basically a way for organizations to make sure like they're compliant and paperwork is together and risk appetite, risk transfer, just kind of having like the risk documented and making sure it's assessed. So like pen tests and your, SOC 2 audits, you're assessing your environment to make sure it's not susceptible to any vulnerabilities and things of that sort.
Awesome. That's exciting. And so you did that, right? System analyst, you went to the school district, then you pivoted to HubSpot, and then eventually it all came full circle where you ended up getting a SOC role at Nordstrom. And is that where you currently are now?
Yes, that's where I'm right now.
So if I can do math correctly, since the beginning of time, it looks like we've observed one, two, not three, but four roles
Yes.
within your career. That's incredible.
And it moves so fast too. Like it's been about going on maybe 3.5 years now. But it's like each year or every 6 months, a new jump, like something new. So the growth has been tremendous and it's a roller coaster professionally and personally, but it just all the growth is amazing in the end. So
That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. I know the team is proud of you. The community is proud of you. And from where you started, $500 a week doing the content on site with that type manufacturing company to now what you're making. I mean, you mentioned six figures. I would assume that's like more than double what you were making, maybe even triple your
yeah,
initial salary, right?
absolutely.
That's
And the thought role is very exciting too, because it's like now it's like the GRC roles was great. I really love those, but the SOC role for me is like it really solidified the cyber career, like the SOC career. So I'm like, okay, I'm in there now. Like I got this.
Let's go. You got this. That's so exciting. We're so proud of you. So now I really want to talk about, right, what maybe people have some questions about. And so thank you for sharing everything that you just did in your introduction and background. But I want to talk a little bit about, motivation and people who may be, making a decision to join. So like, there's a lot, obviously, if tons of boot camps that are out there, coaching programs, I call them like certification farms. Why did you choose the VSOC Incubator program? And how is it different from the cookie cutter boot camp programs, coaching programs that are out there? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't have to like go through. I went through before I came upon Cyber XCS. I had one program, I forgot the name of it, but one cyber program. I didn't know anything about cyber, but I'm like, I knew I wanted to do something with tech. I was good with computers and technology and things of that sort. And this course, it was self-paced, but after I finished it, I was like confused. I'm like, I don't know, like what's next. I'm like, okay, I can get a job as soon as I'm done with this course, but it's like, no, reality set in really, really quick. And then I came upon some TikTok content of yours and Instagram, and the program, it just made sense because it gave me the sense of community and just not self-paced things, like just there on my own, like, okay, here's this, and then throw you to the wolves. But that's the difference for me. Like that community really, really helped me. Like if I didn't have the community, I honestly don't know like where I would be in my cyber career or if I would have like continued on with it. Just being fully transparent because like the LinkedIn aspect of it too, that was a hard transition for me. Like, okay, I have to build my LinkedIn presence, I have to build connections, and um, so along with breaking into cyber and having to build LinkedIn and things like that, it was just like a hard transition, but the community made it way easier for me.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that because it's so true. And I think that like community is one aspect of the program, right?
Mhm.
We have an ecosystem. I think it's really important, to talk about that. The program that we offer is not so much it's not solely a technical program, but it's also concatenated and accompanied by a very solid, I would say stellar, probably second to none, career services and professional development, right? So it's one thing to earn the technical skills, and we'll talk about that with the VSOC because that's kind of like the highlight of everything. But it's another thing to be able to articulate that experience on paper, on your LinkedIn, in the interview. That's really where a lot of people, fail. You can be very technical, but if you don't know how to sell yourself, if you don't know how to communicate and articulate that so that you ultimately identify with the role and, sell yourself to a recruiter or hiring manager, you're going to be out of luck. So I definitely agree and think that's a really big differentiating factor between us and a lot of the other competitive, programs, boot camps, et cetera. Because there's tons. They're out there. So I guess another question I wanted to ask you is has to do with like the hands-on learning component, right? Versus like theory heavy boot camps. How has um the VSOC prepared you for like your real world SOC job? Like, and how has that stood out to like recruiters that you were speaking to?
So it helped me, like I mentioned, I was able to speak to my experience with CrowdStrike from the VSOG, and the recruiters and hiring managers are really impressed with it because I guess CrowdStrike had a different query language name. And I kind of spoke to it, and one of the interviewers said that he didn't know that it had changed. So they were really impressed by that. And the experience with the VSOC itself, like it helped me in my job now because like I'm able to like, hey, I remember doing this in the VSOC, or thinking like too much in my head, like, oh, it's going to be different, or I mean, I know what this is, but without the VSOC, I don't think I wouldn't have been able to speak to CrowdStrike during my interview or be as comfortable using the tool as I am now at work. I use it every day for work now, and without the VSOC, I wouldn't have had the experience with it.
That's incredible. I love hearing that. That makes me so happy. Because when we started planning this, and the VSOC is something that we launched at the end of 2024. So it's a fairly new offer. But it's something that we've been planning for years, actually, like pandemic, around the time of the pandemic. So the fact that you had that experience, now that you're working in a SOC, the correlation was there, using the tools in the VSOC now transfers into your actual SOC role. That's really why we started doing this in the first place. So I'm really excited and happy to hear that you're using CrowdStrike every day, you're using the SIM tools, and now your career is 1,000%, locked in. You have officially secured your
Yeah.
future and your freedom in cyberspace. And it's only going to continue to get better as the landscape of IT and cybersecurity continues to expand. Artificial intelligence continues to expand, accelerate the growth of attacks year over year. Our skill set, our value only continues to increase. And that is literally liberating. So I'm really happy for you, Karizma. I know the community is happy for you, the entire, team and ecosystem. And I know that you'll continue to stick around. We'll continue to observe your growth, and we'll continue to lift as we climb, because that's what we do. That's the most important thing, is we continue to help those who follow after us. Because I know we remember where we started and where we're trying to go. So it's just a great thing to have you, a part of this community.
I'm happy to be a part of it. It's a family, and it just grows like over the years. So that I love that I love the personal growth that I have with it, not just the professional growth. Like that's the part, like that's great. This is what it's built for, but that professional growth, like I wasn't thinking about that then. It's just like God just aligns things the way that you may want them. Just like with the interview, like when I was finishing up the incubator, I got my SOC interview quick, and when I interviewed with them previously, I wasn't familiar with CrowdStrike. Like I never been in the tool. I watched like some YouTube demos, but the second time came around, like, okay, I can speak to this, like going to endpoint detections, the the CrowdStrike sandbox and things of that sort. So it made me more comfortable, and I definitely nailed that interview.
Oh, let's go. I know you did. I know you did, girl. I have one more question for you, if you will, just to kind of close the loop here. And it's really just advice to other students, future students. What would you say to somebody who has no experience, they don't have a degree, or they don't have any certifications, but they're considering, joining our VSOC Incubator program, if they're unsure, what's some advice you may have, for folks who are on the fence or who are considering, joining our program?
I say do it. Don't hesitate. Don't think too much into it. If you want to do it, go for it. Don't put any limitations on yourself. I don't have a college background. I don't have any college educations or degrees. When I started cyber, I didn't have any certifications. And when I landed my two GRC roles, I didn't have any certifications either. I do have my Security Plus now, but I obtained that during my time at HubSpot. So I had the opportunity for a voucher to obtain it. So I'm like, okay, let's just do it. But I still had all my opportunities, and thanks to Cyber ACS and the VSOC Incubator, I had all of my experience that I could put on my resume and speak to it in my interviews. But it's definitely a process, and you just have to go for it, trust yourself, trust your instincts, and just invest in yourself because it's going to come back 10 times over.
You nailed it. I can't even comment on that because that response was literally perfect. But I think you hit it right on the head. And so there's nothing more to it but to do it. And that's what we say. We say, let's get straight to it. Let's not waste time. Let's dive right in head first. Let's leverage the ecosystem, the community, the resources, the frameworks that are there that are set in place that have been proven to work time and time over again. And now with the VSOC, with our virtual security operations center that supports our managed security service providing clients, we have the same tools that you're using actually in a SOC because we are a SOC, ironically enough. So that's the differentiating factor that I wanted to highlight. Karizma, you're a rock star in our community, in cyberspace, and in life. So we just are super proud of you. Thank you so much for all the contributions, and we continue to watch you grow and inspire others along the way. So thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this growing community, and I can't wait to see what's next for Cyber ACS.
Let's get it. You got it. All right. Thank you so much, Kizzy.
Thank you. Bye.